You know what, actually, I'm not gonna get into all this. It's a lot. I'll tell you another time. Happy whatever day of the week I post this. I am in Denver, Colorado. I flew back a couple days ago and I'm finally back in my apartment for the first time in a while. I'm here for my friend's birthday party just for a day, and I have fallen so behind on YouTube over the last couple of weeks for good reason. I went to Paris and then Morocco. I've been trying to figure out where my family's gonna live for the next year. I had to postpone my elopement. There's been a lot of drama, but I'm back. But I went on Instagram the other day and I asked my followers what questions they would most like for me to answer in a YouTube video, and that's what we're gonna do today. You might be thinking, surely as a full-time content creator, Lily has 2 phones or at least 2 devices where she could pull the questions up on a device and record on another. The answer to that is no. I'm the most hodgepodge content creator of anyone I know. My friend who has been content creating for like 5 years less than me has like 2 tripods, 2 mini tripods, back of the phone gripper things, front lights. I set my phone down and I fucking go for it. So that's what you get today. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into these questions. We're gonna start with a nice, sweet question that I thought was cute and fun, and it is, what is your earliest fashion memory? I've got a couple, but the earliest one I think has to be when I was like 5, probably turning 5, and it was my birthday and I had a Groovy Girl dress. If you don't know what Groovy Girls are, they were like the less hot version of brats, and they were what I was allowed to play with as a kid. And I had a cute, like, I feel like it was like this color, like maroon dress that had Groovy Girls on it, and I just remember being really excited to wear that. And then my next fashion memory is winning Best Dressed in 3rd grade, and I did not deserve it because I knew, and everyone knew, that Grace Williams was way better dressed than me. She was decked out head to toe in justice. She was also just cuter than me. She should have won, but she probably won something else. Great girl. Grace Williams, you were an awesome 3rd grade friend. And she just had her shit together. And that's funny. I don't think I realized that was like an insecurity that's tracked with me since 3rd grade, but Grace Williams knew how to fucking dress, and I knew that I didn't deserve Best Dressed, but I was happy to get it nonetheless. I think I got it. I'm pretty sure I got it. I don't think I'm making that up, but anyway, on to the next. Tips for making friends. It's a funny one to answer after getting into a diatribe about my 3rd grade friendship. Okay, yeah, I have a lot of tips for making friends because I know how hard it is to make friends as an adult. I know what it's like to move somewhere and really want friends. And I think the reason that I'm good at making friends is twofold. One, I grew up moving all the time, so I had to learn how to make friends, and I really do think it is a skill that you can learn, and when you're going from place to place as a kid, you kind of have to. And 2, I'm lucky in my adult life, I put myself out there a lot, and so some of my dearest, closest friends have come to me through social media. Like my 2 friends that I see the most in the world right now, Katerina and Corey, I met both of them through social media. I met Corey in Paris when I was like 21. We like blacked out and I slept at her Airbnb the first night I met her. We've been friends since. And then Katerina DM'd me and was like, hey, I think you're in Denver. We might be in kind of different life phases because I'm pregnant, but if you're in Denver, like I'd love to hang out sometime. I followed you for a while and I also fly standby. And I was like, no way. Nobody knew yet, but I was pregnant too. And so I connected with her. We went over to her house for dinner. Scott was like, what are you doing? Why are we going to a stranger's house? But that really honestly leads me into my first point about how to make friends, which is like, you have to put yourself out there. You have to be real and you have to be vulnerable. Some of the best friendships that I've made have been from going up to someone and saying point blank, like, hey, I don't know anyone here. Can I hang out with you? I vividly remember on my first day of high school, I started at a school that was private and Christian, and a lot of the kids had gone to middle school together. And I didn't know anyone. I knew like one junior, or maybe she was a sophomore. I knew Hannah, but we were not in the same grade. And so at orientation, I remember I walked up to this girl and I was like, hey, I don't know anyone. Do you want to sit together? And she didn't know anyone either. And it's kind of funny because like we weren't close friends. We never became close friends. But for like the first week and a half of high school, when we didn't know anyone else, we were like each other's go-to. I just feel like honestly, everyone is looking for friends. Nobody is as confident as they feel. Nobody worth meeting who's really cool and nice and who you actually want to be friends with is going to turn you down for being vulnerable with them. So the first tip I have for making friends is make it clear that you're trying to make a friend. You don't need to be coy or cool or play it off like you're unbothered. If you need connection and you're in a space where you're trying to connect with somebody, it's okay to make that clear. So I think of this like when you're going into a new workplace, when you're going into a school, when you're starting a new sport, it's totally okay to walk up to someone and say like, hey, I don't know anyone. Can I sit with you? And a lot of the times, I think it's like good for our self-esteem to feel like we're helping someone. And so that kind of puts you in this position where someone actually wants to help you and wants to look out for you because you've presented yourself as needing that. And I don't know, it's really easy for pride and ego to get in the way of saying like, oh, I'm lonely and I need friends. But I just think it's silly because so many people are struggling with that. It's okay to be real about it. And my point with the social media thing is that I have basically this one-way hinge where I'm putting myself out there constantly to hundreds of people, and then people watch enough of me to decide if they like me or don't. And the ones that like me, like really like me, often reach out, and that's how I've gotten close friendships. So I'm lucky in that context, but it does lead me into my first point of how to make friends, which is you have to put yourself out there. My next biggest tip for making and maintaining strong friendships is to remember that one friend cannot be everything. I feel like I really had this mentality of my friendships when I was young, like especially in middle school and high school, where I kind of thought, this is a friend of mine, so they have to be everything. They have to be there for me. They have to be 100% loyal. They can never talk shit about me behind my back. They have to go to every birthday party and party that I throw. They have to think I'm their best friend just like I think they're my best friend. They have to show up for me in just all of these ways that are like really hard for one person to do all of. So in the same way that people say like your romantic partner shouldn't be everything to you, I don't think that you should have friendships where you expect everything from one person. And that's why it's good to have a diverse friend group. Because for example, I'm a terrible texter. I'm a terrible caller. Like I am not good at keeping in touch with my friends very well, but I'm gonna fly out for their birthday parties. And if they break a leg, I'm gonna fly out and take care of them for a week. I'm going to send them money if they need it. If their kid is in the hospital, I'm going to send them gift cards, Uber Eats gift cards, like anything I can to make their life easier. Like I may not show up emotionally all the time, but when I'm with them, I'm gonna be 100% present. But this is something that like my friends know about me. And so if they need a friend that's always gonna text back, they can find that in their other friendships. But if they need a friend that's gonna be there for them, like when it really counts, they can count on me for that. And I feel the same way about my friendship. Like not every friend is the funniest person in the world. Not every friend is someone that I want to go out with at night. Not every friend is someone that I want to go on a double date with. Not every friend is someone that I want to go clubbing with. Not every friend is someone that I want to sit at home and watch TV with. But I have friendships for each of those itches. And so rather than expecting one friendship to scratch all of your itches, I think it's good to diversify your friendships so that you can get your needs met in a lot of ways and you don't have to rely on one person for all of those things. At the end of the day, what I feel like this boils down to is just having appropriate expectations of your friendships. If you expect the world from people, you will always be disappointed by your friendships. Whereas if you expect the basics, for example, I expect my friends to be kind to me. I expect my friends to tell me if I've done something to upset them and give me the opportunity to explain and apologize. And I expect my friends to be there for me when I really need them. But beyond that, I don't expect my friends to throw insane birthday parties for me. So when they do, it's like fucking awesome. But if they didn't, I wouldn't be like, you guys are shitty friends. So just having appropriate expectations with friendships and with everything, it just makes life easier. And then my third and final idea for making friends is to be a friend first. So for example, I think a big part of the reason why I've gotten as close with my friends as I have, as quickly as I have, is I start acting like a close friend as soon as I decide I want someone to be my close friend. And that means a million different things and can look a million different ways, but it basically just means I'm showing up for them in the way that I would like them to show up for me, and therefore helping to set the tone for what the entire relationship can look like. So I want friends who bring soup to my door when I'm sick, right? Then the first time I decide that this person is going to be a friend in my life and they're sick, I bring soup to their doorstep. I want friends that are supportive of my relationship, right? So the first time they text me they're in a fight with their partner, I try and help them work through it in a way that makes sense, where I'm on their side, but I'm also a friend to the relationship. And I know I said that was my third and final tip, but my last tip is actually just a lot more practical, and that is go to things. Go to concerts and then talk to people at those concerts. Go to coffee shops and compliment the girl that's wearing something you would wear too. And get her Instagram. Even if it feels weird, people are lonely. We need community, and you have to do things that get you out there to meet people that you're gonna like. And if you're not into doing things, you can do a lot of things online where you can meet people. But I'm a huge proponent of taking a cooking class, a language class, joining a sport, community theater, like any of these things. So many of them you could roll your eyes at, but if you're in an environment where you're learning, it's really easy to connect with other people that are learning. So trying new things and putting yourself out there while you're trying those things is the most practical advice I could give for actually meeting new people. All right, this one's kind of funny. If my life was a movie, what would the soundtrack be? I don't know. Royalty-free lo-fi beats to chill to. I got a lot of questions about how I traveled after having a baby. Like, how is that even possible? Someone was like, I can't even shower. How are you going on trips? Partner, husband, dad. Scott knew when he married me who I was and that I love to travel. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean he's always stoked if I'm gonna be gone for a few days at a time or something. Like, we miss each other when we're apart. It's hard. It's hard for anyone to solo parent, but he knew who I was when he married me, and I'm a traveler. Like, it is a core part of my identity. It's something I'm always gonna do, and it's why I wasn't afraid to get pregnant and become a mom, because I knew even after that, I was still going to make myself travel, even when it's hard, and it was hard. I had so much fun in Paris and Morocco, but by day 4, I was just like looking at pictures of Ruby and crying at bedtime, FaceTiming her and crying. I would be at dinner, 1 glass of wine in, pulling up pictures of her. Like, I miss her like a limb. She's my favorite fucking thing in the world, but I also really love myself, and I love to travel. It's an important part of my identity, and I'm 26. Like, I can't just be done traveling for my life just because I also wanted to be a mom. And I really fundamentally believe in almost all things that you can do both, and that there's a gray area, and that you don't have to pick one thing or the other. And so it was really important to me to maintain my love for travel after having a child. And it's hard. It's definitely a lot of work. It's a lot of planning in advance. I had to have my mom fly out. Scott had to watch Ruby. Scott's mom helped. Like that's 3 people involved just so I can go away for 7 days. But I'm down to ask for help when I need it. And I knew I needed to do this trip and that it was really important for me. So I made it a priority. And when you make something a priority, it doesn't have a chance but to happen. And I think a lot of the reason moms don't get to do the things that they like is they put themselves as the bottom priority. And I just am not going to do that. I still want my life to be something that fucks. I don't want becoming a mom to mean that the rest of my life I'm at the bottom of the list in terms of getting to do what I want. I still have needs, I still have wants, I still have goals, I still have desires. And while obviously I put Ruby first at doing everything and her happiness first, me going to Paris and Ruby being happy, they're not mutually exclusive. So I'm going to make my happiness a priority too. So to actually answer the question, how did I do it? I made it a priority and I asked for help to make it happen. Obviously, there's the whole conversation of paying for it, but I can tell you now, if we had less money and I couldn't afford to go to Paris and Morocco, I would still be taking weekends away, going and staying with girlfriends for free. Like, I was always going to prioritize getting to go beyond my immediate environment because it's just very important for my mental health. I got a lot of questions about the hardest thing of starting a brand, of being a brand owner, my biggest tips for brand and business owners, and how to balance mom guilt with that. I'm going to answer that in another video because I have so many thoughts on that. But I'll say shortly, the hardest thing about launching a brand has been just the time management, because I really want to be present when I'm with Ruby and I really want to hang out with her. But at the same time, there's so much that needs to be done to manage a brand, and it's never ending. You're always working on the next thing. And so figuring out how to balance my time with Ruby and my time as a business owner has been tough, and I've been so tired. A lot of not getting enough sleep, a lot of putting the baby down and then working for 5 hours after she's in bed, waking up before her and cranking out emails. But I just really believe it'll be worth it in the long term. I have big ambitions for Elizabeth Bay, so I'll make a separate video on that one. What are my favorite movies? I always answer this question the same, and it's because it's my answer from like high school, and it just hasn't really changed, but I don't know that it's that accurate. I love the movie, The Mysterious Case of Benjamin Button. I really like that movie, and I've like watched it probably 4 or 5 times. I always think of it as my favorite because I think it's really cinematic, I think it's funny, I think it's thoughtful, but there's gotta be movies I like more than that. I love TV shows more than movies, I would say. The Gladiator, I love that movie. I love Taken. I really do love Taken. It's a joke in my family because there's so many Taken. There's Taken Plane, there's Taken Train, there's like Taken 7, there's Taken Arctic. Liam Neeson found his niche and he wrote it hard. But I love like movies like that. I love any kind of like thriller. Smile is my all-time favorite horror movie because it freaks me out even during the day. I shouldn't even talk about it because I'm home alone, but I think that one's really good. Joker. The Joker is a great movie. I watched that one probably 10 times the year that movie came out. I think it was like 2020 because I was living in Seattle. Maybe 2021, maybe 2019. I don't remember. Great fucking movie. Loved The Joker. Interstellar is a great movie. I liked that one a lot. It's a little bit slow, but blew my mind when I saw it in theaters when I was 14. What haircut do I ask for? 90% of the time, my mom cuts my hair. At my last appointment, Ashley cut it, and I showed her this picture. It's just kind of like a layered bob, kind of pixie vibes. And I want to grow my bangs out and eventually just have those kind of wispy ones instead. So I'm working on growing those out, but I don't ask for anything super specific other than I really like it short and shorter in the back than it is in the front. Although that can get real Karen real fast. So you have to be careful with that. How do you do it all? I don't. I struggle. I just would urge all of you to remember that nobody is doing it all as much as they seem like they are on social media. Like the person that asked this question said, like, I know you probably have a team. First of all, I do. I have a manager who is really helpful. She finds all of my brand deals. She sends me all of my contracts. She is a great ally and I've loved working with her. Well, I guess I don't really have a team as much as I have a manager, but there are 2 people on my management team and they're amazing and super helpful. So they handle a lot of my content creation work, and that's been amazing and really, really helpful. They've also helped me find some opportunities for Elizabeth Bay. So I cannot underline enough how helpful that is. But in terms of like, how do I be a mom, run a business, do my social media, maintain friendships, like it's fucking hard. Never get me wrong. Like just because I'm happy and it is mostly working does not mean that things don't fall through the cracks, does not mean that I'm not perpetually exhausted. Like I am so tired at the end of the day, I just kind of fall into bed. I'm not being dramatic when I say that the last 2 years have been the worst mental health I've ever had in my life. Like, it is so hard to be doing everything I'm doing, be postpartum, and also just constantly be ripped to fucking shreds, which I know is what I signed up for by having a career on the internet. But I've like almost gone impatient. Like, my friends have seen there have been weeks where I'm like bedridden with anxiety, and I'm not even being dramatic. Like it has been so hard, and I never talk about that because I just don't love being vulnerable. I don't love putting that energy out there, and I'd rather focus on the positive, and there's a lot of positive. But if you're ever like, damn, well, Lily Chapman's doing all this and she seems super happy. I wish I just had my friends here and they could tell you because they're probably better at putting it into words than I am. But I have absolutely struggled a lot over the last few years. The only thing that hasn't been hard is like Ruby. Like motherhood is hard, but she is amazing and a light and just pure joy in my life. And there's not been a single second that I've ever questioned or regretted getting pregnant. Like she is the best thing in the world. And if anything, she helps give me perspective about everything else I'm doing and how it's all really just icing on the cake because she is my life and her and Scott are my life and my family and my close friends. Like that's what matters. And she really helps me maintain that perspective. But like the running the business, the content creation, the putting myself out there, it's fucking brutal. And I don't feel like I'm doing it all. I feel like I'm doing like a 60% job at all of those things. There are so many things that I want to be doing better that I'm just not. Even this, like I was trying to post on YouTube weekly and I just fell behind for a month. But when I get overwhelmed, I get really withdrawn and I just kind of sit and cannot force myself into action. And I just like, when I'm like going through it mentally, I'm like there for Ruby and I play with her. And then like as soon as she's down for a nap, I just sit and lay. And like I don't even look at my phone. I just like lay in dark rooms. And there's been full on months of that over the last few years where things are really hard and really bad. And I'm just like perpetually on the verge of tears and shaking with anxiety. But what are you gonna do? Obviously the bulk of that anxiety and horrible feelings has come from like all of the drama that happened on the internet last year. And then with this year, all of the rage bait videos being made about my brand, like they tank your mental health. And it has been so hard. But I just kind of view it as like, I can either let like the people that fucking hate me and want to see me fail win and just give up and give up my career and quit this brand that's my dream just because I haven't done everything perfectly always. Or I could do what most business owners do when they're starting and brand new and learn from my mistakes, keep going, get better, make cool things. And I would much rather do that and focus on that. So, wow, this got really off topic, but how do I do it all? I fucking don't, and it's really hard sometimes. And I'm genuinely just doing my best 100% of the time. And sometimes I lay in bed for weeks at a time. And then I log on to Instagram and post a picture of me where I look super fun and happy. And you guys are like, she's happy all the time. She's doing it right. And that's not reality, because social media is not reality. Which brings me to my next question. Who are my favorite influencers and creators that I follow? I don't really follow influencers, if I'm being honest. I have a few friends and mutuals that I made very early in my career who I will always follow and love to support and see thriving. But in terms of like influencing content that I keep up with, there's very little. Part of that is that I stopped using TikTok last year. I barely even post my own content on there, and I literally never scroll it. My screen time has not gone above 5 minutes on TikTok in over 6 months. Like, I just don't use that app. I think it's terrible for our brain. I just think it's killing our attention spans. I hate listening to people scroll through it. I find it depressing. It's just so like, like it overstimulates the fuck out of me. And I am on there. Like, I'm a creator on there whose life looks awesome, and I know that. And I know that if I can be on there and my life looks so aspirational and cool, and I know that it's actually just a very normal life, but it's very easy to make your life look great on social media because nobody's posting videos when they're rotting in bed depressed. It's just like opened my eyes to how fake I feel like all of it is, and therefore there's not a lot of creators that I feel super inspired by. That said, I think there are a lot of creators that are genuine artists, and I love following people like that. So Martina's Tiny Store, she's a business owner. I love her fashion. I think she's a cool person doing cool things. I love to follow her. I love to follow my friends that dress cool. I love following Sakura because she posts a lot of mom content. She's who asked this question. I follow her. I watch her videos. She sews. I love following other people that sew. I don't sew as much anymore. I don't have time, but, well, I hate that phrase. I don't make time for it because I have to make time for other things right now. But I love following other people that sew. So if it's creative and inspirational and someone with a real skill and talent, or they just like put together really cool outfits that I think are unique, I love following people like that. But I really don't spend a lot of time on social media. And I know that that's hypocritical because I want you guys to spend time on my social media and like following me. But I just feel like life is so short, and there's been so many times where I've sat and scrolled on TikTok for hours and then I walk away from it not even remembering a single thing that I've seen. So now when I need to unwind, and this sounds so head ass, like I know this sounds so head ass, and I know I sound like such a douchebag right now, but I love to read. I got the Kindle app on my phone, and that's what I do when I need to turn my brain off. I read because social media, maybe because it is my career, it just doesn't relax me like the way that I know doom scrolling can for other people. I love a meme. Don't get me wrong. I love a doom scroll on Substack. I love a doom scroll from time to time, but social media just does not relax me, probably because it's my job and I'm like scared I'll see a post about me. So I just read now. Next, someone said, what happened to eloping? Great question. I was supposed to elope 2 days after I got back from Morocco, but I got home and the forecast for the weather for the week was super rainy, like flash floods, really gray. And we're eloping at the Santa Barbara courthouse. Like, it was gonna be beautiful. And we have a film photographer. And so basically I called her. I'm so excited to work with her. She's super cool. She is an influencer that I like following. Influencer, she's a creative, I don't know. Show you all of her pictures and talk about her more when we do elope. But anyway, I called her and I was like, hey, we're kind of 50-50 on this. We feel like maybe we just follow through, but we also feel like with the rain, the pictures may not be as good. What do you think? And she was like, oh, I really strongly recommend that we postpone. You can keep your down payment. What is it called? Deposit. You can keep your deposit, but I really think we should push back because the rain will definitely affect the pictures. We called all of the other things that we had arranged and they were all willing to let us postpone for the rain. So we pushed it back by a few days for the rain. And thank God, because while I was fine with the jet lag and I could have made it work, I definitely wasn't feeling like amazing. And Scott got food poisoning literally the day we were supposed to get married. So, which is his second time getting food poisoning from Chick-fil-A, by the way. But we still love Chick-fil-A. I blame him. He probably didn't, I don't know. Somehow it's his fault. Worked out for the best. We postponed it by an unspecified amount of time. But don't worry, I'll be popping up here married in an unspecified amount of time, and it'll be a fun surprise for everyone. Also, I'm really glad because my hair is growing out nicely and I like it much more now than I did 2 weeks ago. Okay, we're winding down to like 3 last questions. The first one was, what are my life philosophies? Like the 5 key outlooks that are the most important to my life. I thought about this for exactly 10 seconds before I wrote them down. So If I was asked this question again in 2 weeks, I might say something different, but off the top of my head, this is my answer. The first like major life philosophy that I think of a lot is like just doing the next hard thing. When I get really overwhelmed, like with business stuff, with social media, with motherhood, with anything, when I'm just like doing my best and people are tearing me to fucking shreds and I just want to give up, my philosophy is always just like, do the next hard thing. Like, okay, what is the next thing you can do that's going to move you forward and closer to your goals versus just wallowing? And that's the only way that sometimes I'm able to even stay in motion and take meetings and keep putting content out there and keep doing shit when I do not feel like it at all. I just kind of make myself do the next hard thing, and it's just easier to keep doing that than it is to totally stop. After that, I put accountability to myself. My friend Sierra talks about this a lot. That's another creator that I like to follow. But just kind of like, she put into words a philosophy that I don't think I realized I held so deeply, but has always been really important to me, and that's the philosophy of like trusting myself to do what I say I'm going to do. So I have a lot of trust and accountability with myself. So if I say I'm gonna do this hard thing, or maybe it's not even a hard thing, maybe I say I'm gonna drink 3 of these a day so that I get enough water, then I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make myself, even when I don't feel like it and I'd rather grab a Diet Coke. And it's that way with everything. If I say I'm going to start running, then I'm going to start running and I'm going to stick with it. If I say I'm going to drink less, then I'm going to drink less and I'm going to stick with it, because I need to have trust in myself that I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And so maintaining that trust with myself by doing what I say I'll do, it helps me get closer to my goals. It helps me be more like the person that I want to be in the future. And it helps me feel okay with setting lofty goals because I trust myself to work hard enough to achieve them. The next one is a life philosophy of just asking for help. I am so pro asking for help. Even though I really struggle with being vulnerable, I super recognize my humanity, and I super recognize that life is hard and I cannot do everything, and it would be impossible for me to expect that from myself. And so I am more than okay with asking for help from people when I know that I need it. I needed so much help postpartum. I've needed help many times with my business. I need help all the time with Ruby. I need help. Sometimes it's even just a ride. I need help a lot, and I ask for it when I need it, because that's what friendships are. I feel like a lot of people think like friendships and relationships are gift giving and having fun together all the time. And actually, I think friendships are like really built on helping each other out on the inconvenient, not fun things. So airport rides, dropping dinner off, like stuff that's maybe not super fun and a blast, but really solidifies your relationship with people. And I know that I love to help my friends, so I trust that people love to help me too, and I ask for help when I need it. That's a big philosophy of mine, just because trying to do everything on your own will burn you out and make you depressed faster than like anything. We're not meant to operate alone. We exist in communities for a reason, and there's a reason that as we get further from those communities, people get more depressed. So ask for help. Philosophy number 4 is like, people are inherently good. This is something that I learned when I was traveling. A lot of people are really afraid of travel, which I get it. It's an overwhelming thing, especially solo travel. But something that I learned in my travels is that people are inherently good, and there are a lot of people that want the best for you. And sometimes that's hard for me, because obviously I hear a lot of opinions from people that don't want the best for me and that are really negative and really mean and nasty. But that's just the nature of having a career that's as public as mine. In my real life interactions, which is what I value far more than the internet, people are good and kind and want to see other people succeed and want to help you and want the best for you. Even if it's not always true, it's often true, and that's enough for me to trust that I can have faith in people and put myself out there, and there will be good people who see the goodness in me and reciprocate. Final, 5th philosophy, I deserve it. I believe I deserve good things in life, and I do think that is a philosophy, because if you go through life believing that you are entitled to good things, that you don't deserve them, that you're a bad person, you're bogged down by all of this shame, then you're not going to reach for those good things. I know myself, I know my heart, I know how I treat people, and I fundamentally believe I deserve good things to happen for me, so I'm going to believe that they will and reach for them. Those are, like, off the top of my head, my most fundamental philosophies, I guess. Do good, be good. ask for help. The next two questions are, why do you have so many haters, and how are you comfortable traveling alone? Honestly, both of those could be separate videos, but I think I'm just gonna answer the haters one and then make a video on solo travel because that's a much more interesting subject. Why do I have so many haters? I guess I'm just kind of a hot topic. I feel like ever since I got the subreddit and like hired someone to get it shut down, people viewed that as like me covering up the truth. In reality, I just didn't want people posting pictures of my family and my brand new fiance's family and making fun of us and my unborn child. But I feel like that really pissed people off because they felt really entitled to shitting on me. And so they went from shitting on me on Reddit to shitting on me on any other platform. And then I feel like these like mid-tier tea creators whose entire content is based on shitting on other people just kind of realized, oh, if we say this girl's name, there's always at least, 50 people in that comment section that already fucking hate her that are gonna like any video where we say anything negative. So for them, it's kind of easy content because it doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't have to be fair. It doesn't have to be accurate, honest, made in good faith. It just has to be negative about me and it's always gonna get views. Getchy is gonna be in that comment section right fucking away. Like, yeah, she's fucking evil. And all of the ex subredditors are gonna be there and yeah, it's just easy content. The TikTok algorithm rewards videos that collapse nuance and remove context. And so it's just really easy to make videos shitting on me. They're like guaranteed to get views and guaranteed to get comments of people being like, yeah, fuck her. So I guess why I have so many haters is it's easy to hate on me. Why people pick me, I don't know. People pick every successful woman. I don't think I'm special. I mean, first of all, almost any woman with over 200,000 followers has haters, has a hate subreddit, has this collection of weird mentally ill people that just want to see them fail. But also just any woman that's successful ever has people trying to tear them down, wanting to see them fail, calling them out for each and every mistake, whether it's honest or not. I don't think it's just me. I think I maybe just talk about it a little bit more than other people typically do. But I don't think I'm unique or special in my struggle. If you're a woman and you're happy and you're making money and you're successful, even if it's just most of the time, there's going to be a lot of women who that sparks some feelings of inadequacy and anger and jealousy and internalized misogyny in. So it's like not a unique case. There are so many interesting and thoughtful writings about this subject that can describe it better than I can. But for a lot of people, when their life is shitty and they see someone having a fun life, rather than being inspired and motivated to change it, they'd rather just destroy that person. And the last question is, how are you comfortable traveling alone? I think I've maybe done a video on this before, so I don't want to just repeat myself too much. I got this question in my Q&A, and then I also got a DM from a good friend the other day that was just kind of talking to me about how she's not comfortable doing it. And when I asked why, her main reasons were the following. She said, being a woman in general, to which I would reply, being a woman is a superpower, not an inhibitor in solo travel. I think women are smarter than men. I think that we are better planners a lot of the time. I think that we're better researchers a lot of the time. Like, don't get me wrong, men are great, they're fine. So while yes, being a woman does maybe make you more physically vulnerable, it's not a reason not to travel. You are fully capable of doing the research to stay in safe locations, to book security if you're going somewhere truly dangerous where you feel like you need that. But there are so many places that you can go alone as a woman where you don't even need to do that. Just a woman's natural ability to curate and plan and research is going to make you capable of planning a completely safe trip. And I also feel like women have better intuition, so I feel like you can trust your gut, and if you're in a situation where you don't feel safe, you'll know to leave. Trusting your gut is a huge thing with solo travel. But yeah, as far as the actual physical safety that comes with being a woman when traveling, just be smart. Like, women exist in everywhere. Women exist in every part of the world. They live everywhere. Go places where women report positive experiences. Start with that. Build your confidence and build your skill set for determining safety situations. And then it's just basic stuff that I don't need to tell you because it's a simple Google search. Like, don't wear headphones playing loud music when you're walking alone at night. Maybe don't walk alone at night. Plan part of your budget to be for Ubers or taxis. Keep your drink covered if you choose to drink alone. Maybe don't go drinking alone in certain places. But a lot of that is common knowledge and common insight. So I would just say trust in your intuition and abilities as a woman rather than feeling like it's a vulnerability or something to be afraid of. Because women should feel just as welcome and capable and invited into the world of solo travel as anyone. And I would like put that on my tombstone. Next, how do you handle a language barrier? I wish that I spoke multiple languages. I think it's a huge sign of intelligence. I think it's so cool. I think we can understand people better when we speak their language. However, I only speak English, and in my experience solo traveling, you can almost always find someone that speaks English. And that is what's cool about speaking English as our native tongue. It is a pretty universal language, and so while it might be someone else's third, fourth, fifth, sixth language, they're probably going to have learned English if they've learned multiple others. And in a lot of the destinations that you'll first go when solo traveling, there's going to be a lot of other travelers. Travelers often speak other languages. All of this to say, you can almost always find someone who speaks language. Worst case scenario, you can use a translate app on your phone. And worst case scenario, body language does a lot. Like, I've definitely been in situations where I can't communicate with the person that I'm with, but this kind of goes back to my philosophy if people are inherently good. A lot of the time that person is going to sit with me and work to figure it out via body language, or they're going to go find someone who can help us communicate on some level, even if it's only the few words of Spanish that I know and maybe they happen to know a little bit of Spanish too, or whatever it is. Language barriers are not nearly as bad of an issue in almost all of the places that I've been as people seem to fear that they'll be. Even in like rural Japan, where they do not speak English, the worst issues I've had is like, oh fuck, I accidentally got food with fish in it again, or taking a taxi to the wrong destination. Like, it's never been that big of a deal. Certainly not enough to miss out on the entire experience of travel just because of a little potential miscommunication. I mean, for fuck's sake, we miscommunicate with people in English all the time. It's more fun to do it for a real reason and in a cool place. So be less afraid of language barriers. Download a translate app and maybe learn 5 keywords in the native language of wherever you're going, like help, bathroom, phone, I don't know. Like, but even then you just go like this. Like, I don't think that language barriers have ever been a huge issue in any of my travels. Certainly not to the point where I'm like, oh, I wish I hadn't come on this trip. And next, are there any recommendations I have for beginner-friendly solo travel destinations? Definitely Italy. I would definitely do Italy as my first one if I were to start again. I did Italy as my almost first one, so it's not like it was that different for me, but it's so travel-friendly. Italy has so many tourists from all over the place. It's really easy to get around by train. You can always find someone who speaks English. Doesn't matter if you can't find a great restaurant, all of the food is amazing. Everything is beautiful, so even if you end up in the wrong place, it's gonna be gorgeous. Obviously, any city in the world has danger, but I've always felt pretty safe in Italy. And it's just like, even if everything goes wrong, you're still in Italy. So that would be my number one. Definitely not Barcelona. Barcelona is one of the cities I've felt the most like objectified and afraid of the men in because they're very aggressive. Northern Spain, I think would be a good beginner-friendly travel destination. Madrid would be cool. Paris, again, you can always find someone who speaks English, even if maybe they don't want to. And I just fucking love Paris. And again, like, doesn't really matter where you end up as long as you're not hanging out right by the Eiffel Tower. There's so much cool stuff to see. Tokyo would be like a little bit more advanced, but very safe, very clean, very fucking cool. A lot of great technology that makes it easy. They have these translators you can rent where you just speak into it and it translates it. You can rent, the first time I went there, I rented Wi-Fi, which was interesting. I don't know why I didn't just get a different SIM card. Now my AT&T card works everywhere, so I don't remember why I had to do that. But the point is they have a lot of technology that makes it easy for beginner travelers, and it's also just very safe. And if you're into research, you can do a lot of powerful research there that'll make your trip easy. And as for how to get comfortable solo traveling in general, you just have to do it. It's a muscle and you have to stretch it, and you have to learn what it's like to rely on yourself and to trust yourself and to know that you can get through hard situations. And the first times that you do it, it'll be so rewarding and you'll be like, holy shit, I can't believe I did that on my own. I can do anything. And then you'll just do more and more and more. So the best way to do it is to fucking do it. I think that was a lot of the questions. I'm glad I'm finally filming for YouTube, building some trust with myself. I'm gonna try and be back next week, if not the week after, where I'm gonna talk about the hardest parts of building a brand, starting a business, and doing it while being a mom. So if you have any questions about that, let me know in the comments below, or if you have any other questions you want me to answer in general. I'd also love to know what kind of videos you guys are looking for from me. I can keep doing weeks in my life, but I love doing videos where I just sit down and film, One, because it's a little easier, and two, because I'm trying to learn how to edit these myself, and it's easier to edit these kind. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I just monetized this account, which is super exciting. I literally got monetization approval and then immediately didn't make any videos for a month, so classic. So like, subscribe, leave me a little comment, give me a little kiss, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for the questions.